Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for taking the time out to listen to me for the next 20 to 25 minutes or so. Going to focus on really about how we think you can put delivery at the heart of your growth strategy during that time. Firstly, a little bit about the GFS group, comprising three areas: carrier management, technology, and logistics. So from our roots on a farm in West Sussex in 2001, we've grown to a turnover of £50 million, working with some really large and well-recognized brands, people like Mums and Papas, Wilko's, Molton Brown, Liverpool Football Club, amongst others. Everything that we do is about technology. It drives our business and it underpins our day-to-day activities. Our solutions are designed to give all businesses, large and small, access to the most advanced portfolio of shipping and management tools to allow you to accelerate your business. Also, as one of the largest buyers of carriers in the UK, we can offer access to over 50 different carriers and thousands of services, ensuring that our customers always have the option to delight their customers. So what you're going to take from the next 20 to 25 minutes is we're going to look at the macro trends affecting and impacting on delivery. We're going to look at our 4-point delivery strategy for growth, some of the pitfalls to avoid, some customer insights along the way, and then ultimately we'll finish with an example and a case study. So firstly, the macro trends that are affecting e-commerce and delivery. As no doubt we all experience in our day-to-day lives and also in our business lives, the consumer is ever more demanding. The customer has changed forever. In today's market, their wants and their needs are evolving faster than they ever have before. This will continue to be the case. So we're going to take a look at how you can adapt quickly and easily to these changing needs. We'll look at the rise of the marketplace. Marketplaces are fantastic. They enable us to break down borders, gain access to fast-growing markets and large customer bases really quickly. But of course, with those benefits come some challenges. In particular, the trade-off around your margins, and actually then how you offset that by working across multiple channels and potential complexity that can introduce to your business. We'll talk about the explosion of e-commerce. We'll talk about how you follow the sales opportunity. Where do you target first? Where are the fastest growing markets? What are the risks of working in those markets? Are there any regulatory barriers? How do you manage the dreaded duties and taxes? And where are the appropriate carriers and services to exploit those markets fully? We'll also talk about uncertainty, complexity, and risk. Obviously, at the forefront of everyone's minds is Brexit. Yes, we now have a transition deal in place, but the uncertainty beyond that remains. What do you perceive as the risks? Perhaps none. What contingency planning have you done? Again, perhaps you haven't looked at it yet. What we're going to talk about is how the basic acts of mitigation and contingency planning can actually give you the foundation for growth into new global markets. Firstly, the changing landscape, the ever-demanding consumer. Well, as you all know, today's consumer is digital, they're connected. They expect a fast, seamless online shopping experience. They expect the same from their delivery options as well. It's about choice, it's about price, it's about convenience. Speed or free delivery, previously the panacea of delivery, are now blunt instruments in today's market. Today's customer wants the ability to choose how, when, and where they get their delivery. Ultimately, I think it's really important we don't try and second guess what our customers want from delivery. We have the ability to let our customers choose themselves. I don't know your delivery preferences. I suspect you don't know my delivery preferences. Fundamentally, logistics and delivery used to be seen as a problem part of the business. Let's see it for what it is now, a real, true, and strong marketing opportunity that helps drive conversion in the checkout. If we want evidence of just how demanding we've become over delivery, think about the column inches that which or money-saving expert devote to delivery horrors. 10 years ago, it would have been unthought of that actually we would discuss horrible deliveries amongst ourselves. That's how the market has evolved. So what does delivery excellence look like? Well, I think what's paramount these days is not just about your product. It's about the overall end-to-end customer experience. So to be able to offer that excellence alongside your excellent products, it is about multiple delivery options, location, speed, mode of delivery. A solution that integrates simply and easily with your checkout to offer your customers easy choice around their delivery options. A multi-carrier labeling engine that gives you efficiency and integration over the channels that you work with. Simple, easy after-sales support. Ultimately, let the customer choose what they want. If they want it to home or a pickup point, if they want it in the morning, if they want it in the evening. We don't need to second guess what the customer wants anymore. The solutions exist that give you the power to allow your customers to make choice to drive your business. Excellence really is within reach and available to us all. As I touched on before, the rise of the marketplace. Staggering statistics. We take the first two sites, Taobao and Tmall, both owned by Alibaba. The former of those, last month, had over 580 million active users. My question to people in e-commerce in the crowd is, how many of you are actively selling into that market? How many of you are actively exploiting that huge customer base opportunity there? Tmall has 500 million active users. And we can look at Amazon, the site that started as an online bookshop, now does everything from toys to cloud computing to groceries to TV shows. JD, another vastly and rapidly expanding business, now investing in Europe. An interesting point about these guys is the amount of investment they're putting into automation around delivery. Huge sums of money going into drones. But let's pause for a second and think about where these leading marketplaces are. Number one, China. Annual e-commerce sales close to $400 billion. And it remains one of the fastest growing markets out there. So not only is it number one, but it's growing rapidly as well. Second to China is the US. About $370 billion, something like that. Really driven by heavy federal investment in their infrastructure. Number three is the UK. Very mature market, still growing very rapidly, spending about $100 billion on e-commerce annually. And then fourth is Japan, $80-odd billion, but driven very heavily by the mobile sector. And finally, behind that, Germany, $70 billion, second largest in Europe, continuing to grow rapidly. So there's some key markets there. And I think to any business out there that isn't necessarily targeting those yet or exploiting those markets, ask the question why. What are the barriers? How do I overcome them? Because they really can be supportive to your business. And now, the new, exciting, fast-developing markets as well. Russia. 85 million internet users, $26 billion spend in 2016. What's really interesting here is that despite the economic crises that Russia has faced in the last couple of years, it's still growing at a rate of greater than 20% year on year. A lot of this growth has actually been fueled by Alibaba's investment. So their site AliExpress is driving a lot of the B2C activity. Second on our list is Brazil. Again, another country suffering from significant economic crises over the last couple of years, yet still growing at greater than 10% year on year. It accounts for 42% of all e-commerce activity in Latin America. And there's a surprisingly connected population, with nearly 2/3 of the 207 million population having access to the internet. In third place, Turkey, growing really rapidly on our doorstep. But again, the challenge I put to you is, how many of us are actually exploiting these markets? And in Southeast Asia, Indonesia, growth of nearly 20%, spend of $8 billion, but again, another business where mobile commerce is driving the growth. Key things to note when you think about your strategy in entering these markets. Not all good news, sadly. Some great markets out there to go after. We also have some challenges. The potential loss of access to the single market and to the global free trade agreements that come with Brexit is a challenge. We don't know what the impact on our GDP is going to be post our exit from the EU. If we don't have a customs union, we run the risk of there being delays to transit times from the UK into mainland Europe. These potentials for delays will have an impact on some of our highly integrated supply chains that rely on just-in-time fulfillment. There's also the potential for further impacts on costs, because we don't know what the pressures on the exchange rate are going to be. And without a customs union, duties and taxes will become an everyday requirement, sadly. But it's not all bad news. We can mitigate against these risks, and through mitigating against these risks, we actually give ourselves the foundation for growth into these new, rapidly expanding markets. So you can offset the risk of delays in your supply chain by having fulfillment locations within the EU. You can integrate a duty and tax calculator into your checkout. Gives your customers a transparent view of what they will pay as they purchase the products and as they receive them. That key point around duty and tax is that it really allows you to expand to those fast-growing markets outside of the EU. Critical, though, is understanding the key nuances of these fast-growing markets. For example, the fact that if you want to expand into the Middle East, a very large part of that business is on the basis of cash on delivery. It's about having a provider who can support you delivering that type of service. But also, understand what are the variety of shipping services available to you. There's a myriad of options now. Which are the right ones for me? Which works in which market? Which one doesn't? But you have the ability to shrink the world. You can ship it quickly, you can ship it slowly. It can be expensive or cost-effective. My suggestion would be that you work with partners who can give you access and information to support your growth. So, our 4-point action plan to power growth through delivery. Using technology to make multi-channel dispatch seamless. The vast majority of e-commerce businesses these days are operating on multiple channels. But if you're not careful, it can drive complexity into your business. So we'll talk about how you can avoid doing that. Make delivery customer-centric. As I touched on before, I don't know what you guys like from delivery. You potentially don't know what I like. It's really, really important we let the customer choose. Don't give the customer any reason to abandon that purchase. Increase efficiency through an enterprise-wide approach to customer delivery. It's very easy to create a solution at one end of your business that has a huge negative impact on other parts of your business. It's very important that anything you implement is a rounded solution. And then ultimately, choose the right delivery partner who can give you the services and support that you need to expand into these new markets. So action 1. Use technology to make multi-channel dispatch seamless. It needs to integrate with your existing systems. You need to be able to have a multi-carrier labeling engine. You need to be able to drive flexible delivery options into your checkout for your customer. Automated labeling production, thereby avoiding errors. All underpinned by expert carrier management. I think the important litmus test here for you is the technology must enhance your offering and not hold it back. If it's the latter, you should take a long view at what you're doing, I suspect. Point 2, making delivery customer-centric. It is about offering your customer delivery options in checkout, and it's not just about fast and slow. It's about when the customer wants it. It's about where the customer wants it. It's about how they want it. Do they want to sign for it? Do they want to leave it safe? Do they want to pick it up from a locker? Every customer has a different preference. But ultimately, you don't need to create complexity to be able to deliver a solution. You can do all of this through one integration with your website, one integration with your WMS, and one system to support your after-sales needs. Underpin all of that with robust, clear, and concise communication to your customers from the point they arrive at your website. Manage your customers' expectation. Let them understand what the type of services they're going to receive. If you do that, you won't go far wrong. As I touched on before, it's easy to create a marvelous solution at one end of your business and create a whole host of complexity elsewhere within your business. You need to avoid that at all costs. So you need one integrated system that supports your sales channels, your warehouse, your customer care, and your finance teams. Add to that expertise in shipping and global market knowledge, and it's a firm foundation. The key things that you must avoid when creating a very customer-centric delivery solution are multiple dispatch systems in your warehouse, inflexibility around delivering new shipping options to customers, complexity throughout your business, and incompatible carrier services. It's about delivering tailored solutions simply. Final action. Choose the right delivery partner to exploit global growth. Choose a partner who can give you tailored delivery solutions to fit with the local market requirements and nuances. A partner who can help you with their global knowledge. A partner that can help you convert more customers by giving you the shipping options you need. And a partner who can give you the tools that allow you to give your customers a transparent experience from the type of delivery they're going to receive through to the duties and taxes they may have to pay. So in summary, our 4-point action plan. Point 1, multi-channel, omni-channel is inevitable. But it can be implemented in a very complex way. It doesn't need to be. Look for the partners who can support you in implementing these simply. Make delivery customer-centric. Nothing frustrates me more than when my postman arrives at 7 o'clock on a Saturday morning and my dog goes mental. Given the choice, I would far sooner have that delivery at my local shop for me to pick up at my convenience. Number 3, you can constantly drive and improve efficiency through your organization with the right partners. It's critical that by delivering point 2, you don't impact on point 3. And then point 4, let's go and exploit those markets that are growing fast. Let's exploit the largest growing markets that are already significantly larger than our own. So moving on, I thought I'd give you a little bit of an example around a case study of a customer that we've been lucky enough to work with over the last 10 years. In the words of the founders of Mamas and Papas, they say, well, we started a family, and from there we started a business. They're founded nearly 40 years ago now, back in 1981. They're now one of the UK's largest baby retailers. For them, for the owners, it was about delivering something that suited their lifestyle and their personality. They designed products to meet the needs of new parents. It was all about establishing trust in them as a baby retailer and putting the customer at the heart of their operations. And what Mamas and Papas grasped very, very early on in their journey online was the fact that customer delivery and their experience started at the checkout. It wasn't when that person turned up at their door to deliver the product. So over the next few slides, I'm going to show you a little bit about how GFS solutions have helped Mamas and Papas over the years. Now, ultimately, complex shipping does require a partner who can support you. A partner who's going to be able to handle everything from a baby grow right the way through to a large wardrobe, and to give you the systems, support, knowledge, and advice to support everything within that. We started working with Mamas and Papas over 10 years ago now, having been recommended to them by one of their carriers. What Mamas and Papas recognized, as I touched on before, it's about that seamless delivery experience from checkout to doorstep, so the customer understands every step of the way exactly what they're going to get. They understand the communication they're going to receive, they understand how they're going to receive their delivery, where they're going to receive it, when they receive it. So combining their WMS with GFS parcel services and technology, it's allowed Mamas and Papas to achieve this vision of seamless customer interaction. Mamas and Papas go a step further. They now oversee the entire end-to-end journey with automated surveys. They measure every single delivery. They measure every single piece of feedback. They are obsessive about understanding how their customers feel about everything from the online experience to the product experience to the delivery experience. Having built their own in-house warehouse management system, it meant that they needed a flexible and malleable carrier labeling engine to support it. Their integration with our Selector product gave them the power to deliver this key requirement. When they relaunched their website in 2016, they implemented GFS Checkout. Our checkout product is pre-configured with a wide range of delivery options that can be switched on or off at any time. It allows Mamas and Papas to use delivery as a marketing tool. It allows them to make sure they don't drive operational inefficiencies by offering a service that potentially they can't fulfill. In short, it gives them total control, minute by minute, of what they want to offer to their customers, but without a huge IT overhead to support that. But as you'd expect with a business selling anything from a baby grow to a rocking horse, it requires also a sophisticated rules engine that sits behind it, which is what our checkout product does. So by understanding what a customer's ordered, where they live anywhere in the world, the product can then configure in Mamas and Papas website exactly what their shipping options are. In addition to that, multi-carrier tracking, multi-carrier customer service, and then finally, multi-carrier reporting across every aspect of all of their carriers is available to them as well. From their point of view, it's about taking a complex delivery solution and requirement, delivering it simply, driving sales, and delivering efficiency across the whole of their business. Some of the metrics they've seen: 10% improvement in customer satisfaction, 15% faster packing because of faster label printing, increases in transparency and control, greater agility, reduced dependence on IT for logistical system changes. A key driver for mamas and papas. The fact that they can update what they do from a delivery options point of view whenever they want, in real time. They don't have to wait to be able to do these things. Ultimately, the aim of any business, and of mamas and papas, well, it's to drive customer satisfaction. Give the customer what they want, they will become a net promoter of your business, and they will keep coming back to your business again and again and again. The key to our solutions is that we can help you do all of this whilst making sure that it only positively impacts elsewhere across your business. And thank you. Happy to take any questions that you might have for me.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel. Anybody got any questions for Daniel? Okay, I've got a question, Dan, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So obviously, huge growth in home shopping, huge growth in the last mile solutions, and obviously now we're looking at really where the consumer is going and what they want with regard to that final mile. Mm-hmm. Is the trend now moving towards the click and collect from a favoured point, or is it home delivery that the consumers really want?
Dependent on the product types. As you will see with certain larger product groupings, home delivery still is the favoured option, but actually the rate of delivery to collect increases every year. So there is significant growth in those areas. There is no doubt that a consumer, given the choice, is starting to select those options more and more. I think one of the challenges has always been for the larger retailers to put a click and collect option on their website isn't too onerous a thing to do because they have the ability, they have the IT team to be able to support them. But perhaps for small and medium-sized businesses, it's been more of a challenge because of the cost associated with it. The change that is coming is that there are now solutions that they can use quickly and easily to integrate those solutions. As a consumer myself, I never want to get anything delivered to my house. I'm not at my house. So for me to be able to pick it up on the way to work, on the way home, whatever it may be, that's the most important choice for me.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Yeah, so over there.
Hi, Paul Johnson Barnett from Brown Fashion. How do you manage the final interaction with the customer? So if you're using multiple carriers, we've all seen horror stories of it's not the final mile, it's the final yard that's the problem. How do you manage that interaction? I think
the most important thing will always be around carrier selection. So understanding the type of interaction your customers would want, the type of product they're going to receive. Does that type of service fit with your brand as a business? So from the very first point, making sure that you have the right service in place. And communication, as you say, is always key. What we do, we encourage every aspect of whether it's SMS communication or email communication or even app communication with a customer, because there are some very sophisticated carriers out there now. But in addition to that, what we do for our customers is proactively manage shipments. So our systems essentially trawl carrier systems, identifying problem deliveries. We will then actively go and communicate with those customers. So there is a whole tranche now of carrier-driven communication, but actually what we've always done, and it has been the mainstay of our business for 15 years, is to take that a step beyond and to manage any errors proactively with our customers.
Thanks, Daniel. Any other questions? Can I just ask one more question, Daniel?
Sure.
You and your organisation obviously is in the leading edge of supply chain technology and supply chain innovation, and I suppose you've got quite a fortunate position in terms of understanding what some of the research that's going on now and where that's likely to go. And we've all seen things around driverless vehicles. We've all seen the drones,
Yep.
But what do you believe and your organisation believe is going to be really operationally real, and what are the big technological changes we can expect?
I think the point you touched on there is no doubt a lot of investment going into both automated vehicles and into automated aerial vehicles in the respect of drones. I have absolutely no doubt that in 10 years' time, this type of technology will be prevalent. There is too much investment going on. But not only that, there actually is a significant pinch in the supply chain potentially. There are reasons why Amazon, JD, for example, are investing heavily in their own logistical networks, because they realize there isn't necessarily the capacity to fulfill the growth. Yeah. So I'm afraid it is inevitable that these types of things will happen. As to how quickly, I think that's more of the question around regulation, safety, and so on and so forth. But I would be very, very surprised if in 10 years' time we aren't starting to see the proliferation of those types of technology.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Anybody else? Just a final question before we end the morning session? Okay, just one quick question over there. Thank you.
Hiya. You touched on some of the concerns that people are voicing around Brexit.
Yep.
Can you talk a bit more about that? What are the kind of conversations that you're having with people, both small and larger companies? Well,
I think one of the biggest problems is the unknown at the moment. People don't know what's going to happen. If you take a worst case scenario, you are potentially looking at a customs union of some sort. Now, that will naturally bring delays in terms of shipping times from the UK into the EU. It will also mean there will be a duties and taxes requirement, so an increase in administrative burdens for us all to deal with, as well as further impacts on delay. Now, all of those delays, as we know, delay in the supply chain equals cost. Duties and taxes for a consumer means, well, if we don't present that view to a consumer transparently, they might not buy. So you could see an impact on your checkout conversion. So that's why there are some key mitigatory steps I think you can put in place. But I don't think just see it as a downside. See it as actually the ability to then grow globally as well, because those are the natural kinds of things that you'll need to do anyhow to start to attack some of these fast-growing markets outside of the EU.
Okay, thank you. So that completes, thanks Dan, we just appreciate and thank you.